At first, an unusually long nose. This is a Sengi. Elephant shrews aren't shrews. Speed is only part of the secret. These animals repeatedly use familiar pathways through their territory. The Sengi has no armor, no powerful jaws. Its first defense is knowing when danger is coming. When the chase begins, that doesn't simply run, it runs through a land. These narrow paths are more than convenient shortcuts. They are repeatedly used routes through the Sengi's territory. The same nose that makes the Sengi look so unusual is also one of its most useful tools. It constantly probes the ground. At our scale, this ground looks almost empty. But at the Sengi's scale, every leaf and crack can hide food. On the ground, speed can save a Sengi. But from above, the rules change. Now, survival depends on something else. The Sengi cannot run something moves. Something moves. Not every confrontation is worth winning. For a small mammal living among larger predators, avoiding finding food is not one successful hunt. It is hundreds of small searches repeated across a territory. And as the sun begins to fall, the landscape changes. The same paths now become part of its evening routine. Communication doesn't always need a sound. For an animal close to the ground, the landscape itself can carry information left behind. Most encounters do not become fights. Recognition is enough. Two Sengis can meet. When daylight disappears, the rules of the landscape change. The Sengi can no longer rely on the same visual information. So, not every sound in the darkness means danger, but the cost of ignoring the wrong one can be enormous. At night, speed is not always the best defense. Sometimes the safest place is the smallest one. Survival isn't only about escaping danger, it is also about having somewhere to disappear when the chase is over. By morning, the danger of the night has become yesterday's problem. For the Sengi, the cycle begins again. Search, feed. For an animal this small, every meal matters. The food is tiny, but the search never stops. Sometimes, survival brings two animals onto the same path. But for a Sengi, meeting another individual, courtship is rarely a human love story. Here, the signals are smaller: a pause, a scent, a response. The chase, the feeding, and the endless search for safety all serve the same purpose: to stay alive long enough to create the... After all the running, searching, and escaping, a new life has arrived. But the smallest Sengi the newborn does not have years to learn the basics. In a world filled with predators, every stage of development matters. The first lesson isn't how to run. It's learning where running is safest. The juvenile has just experienced something. The world announces itself before danger becomes visible. To a small animal, listening is part of seeing. For the first time, the juvenile notices the danger before the adult does. It is a small moment, but now the lesson becomes practical. The juvenile must find food for itself, search, detect, capture, and move on. Finding food is not guaranteed. Most of the ground offers nothing. For a small predator, success comes from searching again. Nothing about the Sengi's body is accidental. Its long nose helps it investigate the ground. Its large ears constantly monitor the surrounding world. And at full speed, the Sengi seems to disappear. But slow the movement down, and another story appears. The ability to run is built into the body, but controlling that body takes practice. For the juvenile, every sprint is also a lesson. Speed is powerful, but speed is expensive. The Sengi doesn't need to run every second. It needs to know the landscape is part of how it survives. The same ground can provide food, cover, a route to escape. Every obstacle changes the map. Size alone does not tell us. To us, this place looks empty. But from the Sengi's perspective, every centimeter contains information, a hiding place, a food source, For a small animal, survival is measured in distances we barely notice. A few centimeters of the same landscape that protects the Sengi also attracts the animals that hunt. For prey, it is a route to safety. The juvenile is no longer simply following. The lessons from every chase, every search, and every journey, every movement began as a lesson. Every escape began as a reaction. Over time, those moments became survival. The body, the senses, the movement, the habitat. A Sengi's survival is not created by one extraordinary ability. Small does not mean insignificant. The Sengi may spend its life hidden, but it is for animals that depend on specific landscapes, change does not have to happen overnight. Small changes can slowly reshape the world. Most of the world never notices animals like the Sengi. They move quietly. They live between leaves and soil. But
at first, we only saw a small animal running, but every step carried a story written by evolution, a story shaped by danger,
small enough to disappear, complex enough to carry millions of years. Survival belongs to those who understand, who are hidden beneath the grass. Another world continues, a world of movement, a world of survival. Humans create maps with symbols, but animals create maps through experience. Every repeated journey. Survival is not always about being the fastest. Sometimes survival is knowing when not to move. At our scale, the ground looks quiet, but beneath every leaf is a struggle for survival. Before a chase begins, survival starts with awareness. Running directly is not always enough. The Sengi must find a place where speed becomes protection. The Sengi does not win by fighting. It survives by avoiding the fight completely. Every survival story is built from small decisions. For the Sengi, the greatest weapon is not strength, it is knowing when. On the ground, the Sengi what is around it. Above, another world is watching. From above, the attack looks impossible to escape, but survival begins before the strike. The predator had the advantage of speed, but the Sengi had something equally important: time. For a small animal, the safest path is rarely the fastest. The landscape itself becomes part of the defense. Some predators do not wait. They search and follow, waiting for a mistake. When danger comes from the ground, distance becomes everything. The first decision is the most important one. The Sengi cannot win a physical battle, so it chooses another battlefield: the landscape. Survival is not always about defeating an enemy. Sometimes it is about making the enemy give up. The Sengi did not defeat the predator with strength. It survived because it understood the world around it. The Sengi survives a dangerous world not because it is the strongest, but because. At first glance, Sengi seems familiar, but appearances can be misleading. This animal is not a mouse. The Sengi does not belong with rodents. Its ancestors followed a different evolutionary path. Millions of years. The Sengi's nose is one of its greatest survival tools. It is a sensory instrument designed for a world hidden beneath leaves. Small animals often survive by hiding. The Sengi chose another path. Its body was shaped for movement. Before the Sengi sees danger, it may already hear it. In a world where predators can appear suddenly, the Sengi is not built around one extraordinary ability. It survives. When danger appears, the Sengi does not have the strength of a larger animal, but it has something different. A body designed for By the time danger becomes visible, the Sengi may already know something has changed. Survival begins with. In nature, Size creates advantages, but it also creates limitations. A small body opened doors that every feature tells a story written over millions of years. The Sengi is not a strange little animal. Animals do not need a perfect world, but they do need a world they understand. For the Sengi, some of the most important stories in nature are happening beneath our attention. Small animals often disappear from our view. To understand a changing world, scientists study the creatures living inside it. Even a small animal, when the sun disappears, another chapter of survival begins. The darkness does not stop life, it changes. Darkness removes some advantages, but it creates new challenges. For animals that live close to the ground, after sunset, the Sengi enters a different version of its world. Places that seemed empty during the day become filled with information. Every survival story begins. There is a moment when life depends entirely on protection. Many survival skills are not born instantly. They are discovered, repeated, refined. Eventually, every young animal must leave the protection of the familiar. The next chapter belongs to the individual. One Sengi's journey eventually ends, but the story does not. Across this landscape, another life begins the same ancient challenge. At the beginning, we saw only a small animal moving through the grass. A history of adaptation, a lifetime. The world does not only belong to the animals we notice. Some of the most fascinating stories exist at a smaller scale. The Sengi's world is small, but the Sengi does not survive because the world is easy. Nature is not built only by the largest animals. Every creature is part of a larger system. Even the small. This landscape was not just a place to live. It was a teacher. Every path, every challenge, every hidden corner. The challenges will return. The predators will return. The seasons will change. But life continues. Some animals survive by being powerful. Others survive by being unnoticed. The Sengi belongs to the second group. And that millions of years created this moment. A small creature, a remarkable story. Every corner of Earth holds stories waiting to be discovered. Sometimes the greatest journeys belong to the smallest animals. In a world filled with giants, some of the most incredible stories belong to those we almost never see.